Hey guys, today we're going to be drawing dining chairs. This is a preview of the work that we're going to be doing. We're going to do elevations as well as perspective views. All right, first off is the elevation view. So you're going to start off with a baseline. Figure out what scale you want to use. I'm using 1/2 inch scale. And then I'm going to draw my vertical lines and measure out the overall height. And because I'm going to do both the front and the side, I'm going to go ahead and use it on the same baseline. So I'm just going to extend my height lines, and now I'm going to measure the width of the front view and the depth of the side view. So I'm going to do it side by side so I can use the same height line when I measure off all the elements. So that is the depth. So I'm going to go ahead and draw light vertical lines for the overall box. So this would be the overall height as well as the width, and then overall height and the depth for the dining chair. All right, and then you're going to figure out, okay, what is the seat height? So you tick off that measurement line, and I extend the construction lines for both the front and the side view. And after that, you're going to look at the reference image, and then you're going to look at, okay, how low do you think the base of the seat goes? How long do you think the legs are? Look at the proportion, look at the positive and negative space, look at, if the back is straight up and down or does it have a slant to it. You're going to make those decisions while you're drawing, okay? So I know that that oval in the back, it doesn't quite sit at the seat height, so I'm going to drop it a little bit higher than the seat height. I know that the arms kind of curve in a little bit. So I'm using the same measurement lines for the arm height so that when I start to do the side view, I'm doing less work. I know the legs are tapered, so they're not box or square legs, they're tapered. So I do a slight little angle with my little straight edge. I'm going to go ahead and harden these lines here for the arm. I'm going to soften, create the little brace that goes from the back of the seat to the back of the chair. Then I'm going to flare out the back legs. And then once I get the overall design the way I want it, I'll go ahead and harden these lines. And so it now looks a lot more like your reference image rather than just a square. So the biggest mistake I see students do is that they are very committed to the overall height and width of the chair rather than looking at the reference image and seeing that the height is the topmost height of this chair, but not all parts go to the topmost position. The width is the widest part of the chair, but not all parts go to the overall wide parts. So you're going to have to kind of break it down and work within the box constraints. So now, as I hardline these lines, it looks a lot more like the reference image. So there is my dining chair front view. So this would be used in an elevation if you have a dining room that you're working on. So you might do a little bit more details now, like the tufting on the back. I'm measuring out like the diamond pattern that I have. So if I wanted to render this, I could get better details, but that's basically the extent of the front elevation based off the measurements of this Bernhardt chair. Now I'm going to work on the side elevation. So again, this is the depth, but the back of this chair isn't straight up and down. There's an angle to it. So I know I'm using this angled line, and then the leg flares out. So although the depth is, almost 29, it's only to the very back of the seat cushion, the back of the chair, not to the seat cushion or the legs. Then I'm looking at the profile, looking at the arm profile and the seat cushion, and still using the same measurements that I had for the front view. But now I'm going to hard line the lines that I have. So this would again be used for your elevation. My legs again are tapered, so I have a straight line and then I have a tapered line. My back leg is flared, so I'm going to go ahead and use my French curve to get that curve, so I can hard line that curve. And then here's the seat base, and then I have the cushion next. Using that same line, and there's the seat cushion. And that's all there is to creating a side view elevation of the dining chair. Next up is the perspective. When we're doing a 1-point perspective, again, your ray lines will come from one single point. So here I'm doing a quick sketch, and I have some horizontal lines for the base, vertical lines for the box. So again, this would be the box that the chair comes in, right? So now I'm kind of figuring out the seat height using the vanishing point for that, and some horizontal lines, and again vanishing points. So that gives me an overall very boxy position. But again, my chair has an angled back, so I am offsetting some angled lines, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw my oval for the back within those offset lines. Then I'm going to look at the seat, and then I notice that the front is wider than the back, so I'll go ahead and lightly draw some guidelines there. Draw the brackets that hold the back. Then I figure out where my arm height's going to be, and the arms kind of hug the profile of the chair. So I'm going to use some measuring points from the vanishing point. And again, this is all eyeball, because the only number I know is the overall height, the overall depth, and the overall width, and the seat height is 18. So the rest of the stuff is based off of what you see, what you would visualize for the depth of the chair seat, and here's some flared legs at the bottom. So a lot of it is taking your knowns and kind of combining it with your unknowns and draw. Here's the profile of the arm. And then once you have your sketch lines and your sketch lines are happy, then you can hard line them. So using a French curve is really helpful when you are drawing curved lines in perspective, when you can't use your straight edge, and so you have to have some kind of curve to it. So the French curve is really beneficial for those kind of lines. So this is a flared leg, and it's going to be a lot easier to draw in one stroke with a French curve than a bunch of sketch lines that I had underneath that. So again, using the French curve for the flared legs. It's helpful for those longer lines. For the short lines, I can kind of draw one straight line or one smooth continuous line, but for longer lines it's a little harder for me, so I use the French curve for that. So this is basically your 1-point chair in perspective. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start the 2-point perspective. And again, you're going to go to 2 different points. Because this chair, the vanishing points are way away. They're not on this page at all. You're going to have to visualize it. So it kind of looks like a flattened diamond for the base, but you have to visualize that the vanishing point, the right vanishing point is way away from the page and the left is far away. So you're going to use those lines. But here I figure out that I need to lower these lines because it's getting too close to my elevation. So I'm going to go ahead and lower my box. I have my box here. I am doing the back. Again, it's at a slant. So this would be the new seat. And again, the front of the seat is wider than the back. I am sketching out the arms, the arm location, the back, the flare of the back leg, and the taper of the front legs. So again, I use the box just to help guide my overall position, and then I'm using sketch lines within the box to get my shape based off of my reference image. So I will go ahead and hardline these lines a little bit more, get the overall shape, the depth of this little round element here, or oval element, the diamond in the seat. Alright, so now when I draw the legs, I have my vertical line for the leg, and then I taper the legs a little bit more so they're very elegant. Again, vertical lines for the front, and then taper those lines, and then also show the depth of the legs. Okay, so I'll do that for the base of the chair. And then the back side here. Now I'm going to use the French curve for the flared legs, just like I did in the 1-point perspective. It's helpful to do that. So now you see a lot of sketch lines still. Here's a little bit of the back leg face off. Now I can erase some of the construction lines that I had drawn earlier. If it's helpful, you can now trace it onto a clean sheet of paper, but for this demonstration I'm just going to work straight through. But definitely, if you like a much more clean look, go ahead and transfer. Once you get the overall shape, you can go ahead and transfer it to a clean piece of paper. But that is basically how you're going to approach a chair. Using the box method, I always work within the constraints of the chair. Utilize the reference image so you can see what parts actually touch the edges of the box. So it's not going to be every part, so make sure you're looking at the reference image. Alright, so these are your chairs, so hopefully that helps you.